Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're totally cracking open the Modern Educator's Toolkit. We're going to dive deep into how the Philippine K-12 system is literally redesigning the classroom to prepare students for a rapidly changing, incredibly complex world. If you want to understand the mechanics of how we actually build 21st century skills in learners, you are in the exact right place. So let's kick things off with a pretty provocative question that challenges a centuries-old assumption. Is a learner's mind really just a tabula rasa? A blank slate, just sitting there waiting for a teacher to come along and fill it with facts? For generations, education ran exactly on that premise. But today, modern pedagogy completely flips this on its head. To see exactly how we've moved way past the whole blank slate idea, here's our roadmap for exploring the pedagogical approaches mandated by Republic Act 10533. We are organizing these concepts into a practical toolkit for the modern teacher. We're covering the constructivist shift, inquiry and collaboration, solving real-world problems, adapting to the learner, and finally, the tech-powered classroom. Let's get right into it. Starting right at the philosophical foundation of it all, we have Section 1, the constructivist shift. Look at the stark contrast here. In a traditional setup, the curriculum is all about basic skills first. Students work alone, and learning, well, it's mostly based on sheer repetition. It basically treats knowledge as inert factoids to be regurgitated for a single correct answer on a test. But jump over to the constructivist side. Here, learners actively build their own understanding through real experience. They use their prior knowledge to create, manipulate, and debate ideas. Learning becomes interactive, group-focused, and relies on diverse assessments like peer evaluation. It's all about the process, not just the final product. With that foundation laid, let's move to our first set of actionable strategies. Section 2, inquiry and collaboration. So how do we actually scale a student's independence? We use these 4 levels of inquiry. We don't just throw students into the deep end, right? We start at level 1, limited or confirmation inquiry, where students just practice collecting data to reinforce an idea they already know. Then we step up through structured and guided inquiry, slowly peeling away that scaffolding. Finally, we hit the ultimate goal, open inquiry. At this level, students act like actual scientists. They come up with their own questions, design their own investigations, and communicate the results. It demands serious cognitive effort and scientific reasoning. And naturally, inquiry leads straight into collaborative learning. Constructivism relies heavily on the idea that students don't just learn from the teacher, they learn from each other. This approach forces students out of isolation. They have to share conflicting perspectives and find those synergistic solutions together. By using active methods like think, pair, share, collaborative learning promotes deep interdependence, ramps up personal responsibility, and really sharpens those absolutely crucial 21st century communication skills. Next up, we're pulling out the heavy-duty tools designed for tackling the messy complexities of the real world. Section 3, solving real-world problems. The really cool thing about problem-based learning, or PBL, is that the motivation to learn becomes entirely self-imposed. Instead of sitting through a traditional lecture, students are handed a complex, messy situation. From there, they work in small groups and navigate a highly structured process to explore the issue, define a concrete problem statement, and brainstorm solutions. The kicker? They have to provide solid evidence to support their solution before monitoring how it works. It literally forces them to see the big picture while building major critical appraisal skills. Now, project-based learning, or PBL, takes a very similar real-world angle, but the focus shifts heavily toward producing a tangible, carefully designed product. It's all about learning life-enhancing skills by structuring inquiry around authentic, complex questions. This is a real game changer because it makes schools significantly more engaging by connecting the classroom directly to the community and the real world. To pull this off, a teacher executes the PBL approach using a highly systematic 6-step workflow. Question, plan, schedule, monitor, assess, and evaluate. This structure is absolutely vital. Why? Because it ensures that while students get the freedom to explore and create, they also stay completely on track and consistently hit those core educational standards. It's essentially guided autonomy. But we all know that in a diverse, modern classroom, one size absolutely does not fit all. Which brings us to Section 4, adapting to the learner.
Sometimes you're teaching fundamental skills that require absolute mastery, meaning there's zero room for guessing. For this, teachers rely on the I do, we do, you do explicit teaching model. It's a direct, engaging, and highly success-oriented strategy. Just look at the progression. I do is the teacher modeling the skill, we do is guided practice together, and you do is independent practice. It's a carefully calculated, gradual release of responsibility from the teacher to the student, ensuring absolutely no one gets left behind on the basics. However, once we move past those basics, we have to recognize that students learn at vastly different paces and have totally different interests. This is where teachers deploy differentiated instruction. And hey, this isn't just a nice-to-have idea, it's an actual mandate highlighted in DepEd Order number 72. It's specifically designed to increase school participation rates by making sure every single student stays actively engaged and learning in a way that actually makes sense to them. Tomlinson's differentiated instruction model breaks this down beautifully. A teacher doesn't just randomly change things up. Instead, they can specifically differentiate the content, the process, or the product. And they base this differentiation on a student's readiness, their interests, or their unique learning profile. The whole point here? To totally maximize student growth, motivation, and learning efficiency. To actually achieve this in the classroom without completely burning out, a modern educator's toolkit has to include a wide spectrum of strategies. You've got your high prep strategies, like designing comprehensive tiered lessons or creating multiple intelligence options for a huge project. But you also have incredibly effective low prep strategies, like simply pairing up reading buddies or sending out a quick interest survey to tailor the week's reading materials. It's all about balance. Finally, let's explore the ultimate 21st century amplifier in our kit, Section 5, the tech-powered classroom. The Department of Education's Transformative Learning Environment Framework makes one thing crystal clear. Information and communication technology, or ICT, is not just about dumping hardware into a room. It's about creating a truly transformative learning environment. Notice how teacher and student activities deliberately intersect right in the middle, accessing, processing, creating, and communicating. The technology literally acts as a bridge to build essential 21st century skills like digital literacy, communication, and innovation. By breaking down this ICT integration matrix, we can see exactly how digital tools map to specific instructional goals. Think about it. If a teacher is prepping a lesson, the tech is just a word processor. If it's a lecture, it's a projection device. But if it's a collaborative activity, the teacher facilitates a digital platform while students actively collaborate on an output using shared digital resources. It ensures that technology is intentionally chosen to enhance the teaching, rather than just acting as some shiny distraction. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this final thought. We've seen that the mind is absolutely not a blank slate, and we've unpacked the robust toolkit modern teachers use to cultivate critical thinking, collaboration, and real-world problem solving. So knowing these frameworks and tools exist, from constructivist inquiry to tech-powered differentiation, what role will you play in helping the next generation actively build their own reality? Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive.